عملا معي المودة والصداقة.
You're watching the English newscast on Future Television. I'm Yumna Naufal, and these are today's top stories. Lebanese leaders accuse authorities of corruption in connection to aviation safety measures deployed near Beirut's airport. A strong message to Israel and the incoming Trump administration. Dozens of countries are expected to reiterate their opposition to Israeli settlements. U.S. President Barack Obama surprises his Vice President Joe Biden, awarding him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Lebanese leaders are accusing authorities of corruption in connection to aviation safety measures deployed near Beirut's international airport as well as the nearby landfill. In a series of tweets, Tawheed Party chief Wiam Wahab speculated that a temporary order to close a dump near the airport was intended to fill Beirut's streets with waste, again in order to adopt a new solution that fills empty pockets. He was referring to the Costa Brava landfill, which was ordered temporarily closed on Wednesday over fears that it was attracting seagulls, which could be dangerous for incoming and outgoing flights. Officials began installing devices at the airports on Thursday that emit ultrasonic sound waves in order to repel birds. Progressive Socialist Party leader MP Walid Jamblad also blasted the project in a series of tweets earlier today. Foreign Minister Jabran Basil is rejecting any interference by Lebanese factions in Saudi Arabia's affairs, praising the recent visit by President Michel Aoun to the Gulf country and saying that King Salman told his delegation that Saudi Arabia does not wish to interfere in Lebanon's affairs and no one is allowed to interfere in its own. Basil said that the Lebanese in turn do not want to or wish to interfere in Saudi affairs. He was among an 8-member ministerial delegation that accompanied Aoun on his trip to Saudi Arabia and Qatar. The ice-breaking meetings with the two Gulf countries focused on bilateral relations, which have been on tenterhooks since February of last year. Lebanon's relation with Saudi Arabia deteriorated last February after Riyadh froze a $3 billion grant to buy arms from France for the benefit of the army, in addition to another $1 billion in grants that was earmarked for security agencies. Syria is accusing Israel of firing rockets that hit near a major military airport west of Damascus, triggering a fire, and has warned Tel Aviv of repercussions without specifying whether it would retaliate for the attack. The third such incident recently, according to the Syrian government. In a statement carried on the official news agency, the military said several missiles were launched just after midnight from an area near Lake Tiberias that fell in the vicinity of the Meze military airport on the western edge of the capital. It did not say whether there were any casualties, but residents of Damascus reported hearing several explosions that shook the capital. The Meze airport compound, located on the southwestern edge of the capital, had been used to launch attacks on rebel-held areas near Damascus and has come previously under rebel fire. Two Iraqi officers say Iraqi special forces have entered the Mosul University, a tactical achievement in battling Islamic State militants for control of the city. The officers say the troops entered the university grounds and secured parts of the compound located in eastern half of Mosul. The officers spoke on condition of anonymity as they are not authorized to talk to reporters. The move comes a day after Iraqi army forces north of the city linked up with troops pushing in from the city's eastern edge. The sprawling university compound, a symbolic landmark in Iraq's second largest city, was once used by ISIS militants as a base. Officials had said the militants also used the school's chemistry labs to produce chemical weapons. In a strong message to Israel and the incoming Trump administration, dozens of countries are expected this weekend to reiterate their opposition to Israeli settlements and call for the establishment of a Palestinian state as the only way to ensure peace in the region. France is hosting more than 70 countries on Sunday at a Mideast Peace Summit in what will be a final chance for the Obama administration to lay out its positions for the region. According to a draft statement, the conference will urge Israel and the Palestinians to officially restate their commitment to the two-state solution. The draft says that participants will affirm that a negotiated solution with two states, Israel and Palestine, living side by side in peace and security, is the only way to achieve enduring peace. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has ruled out a return to the 1967 line, and many members of his coalition oppose Palestinian independence but support expanded settlements. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more headlines after this. Welcome back. You're watching the 1620 o'clock news here on Future Television. President-elect Donald Trump's pick to lead the Pentagon told Congress the United States must be ready to confront Russian behavior in areas where the two countries cannot cooperate, even as he backed Trump's bid to engage with Moscow. The remarks by retired Marine General James Mattis in written response to questions from Congress are likely to set the tone for a Senate Armed Services Committee confirmation hearing that will begin today. During the hearing, Mattis will be asked about Russia and the world order that has been in place since World War II. Mattis, who retired from military in 2013, is technically ineligible for the job since he has not been a civilian for at least 7 years. But this means Congress would need to grant him a waiver, something it has not done since 1950, but appears inclined to do now. And on to Paris, where 6 more people were presented to a judge in the Kardashian armed robbery affair. This is the judge will decide whether to place them under formal investigation. The Paris prosecutor had already placed 4 people suspected of involvement in the armed robbery of U.S. reality television star Kim Kardashian under formal investigation and are kept in provisional detention. On Monday, police investigating the robbery arrested 17 people, including a chauffeur who drove Kardashian around Paris in the days before the robbery. In the early hours of October 3rd, thieves wearing balaclavas and police jackets burst into luxury property in central Paris, where Kardashian, who is married to rapper Kanye West, was sleeping. They tied her up at gunpoint before making off on bicycles with her engagement ring and other jewels worth 9 million euros. This is what authorities are saying. Michael Jackson's daughter Paris says she's incredibly offended by a new comedy in which a white British actor, Joseph Fiennes, portrays the late king of pop. Paris Jackson, 18 years old, who also called the tongue-in-cheek film a vomit-inducing in a series of tweets following this week's release of a trailer from Britain's satellite TV channel Sky Arts. The story is about Jackson is casting Fiennes in a reimagined tale of a road trip across the United States, which he said to have been taken in 2001 with movie stars Elizabeth Taylor and Marlon Brando. Jackson, who had the medical condition vitiligo that lightened the color of his skin, died in June of 2009 at the age of 50 after an overdose of the sedative propofol. Fiennes, who appeared in Shakespeare in Love and the TV series American Horror Story, could not be reached for comment, but the actor said last year that although he was surprised at being picked to play the singer, he meant no disrespect. U.S. President Barack Obama surprised his Vice President Joe Biden, awarding him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest award a president can bestow on a civilian, at a farewell ceremony at the White House. Obama said the medal was awarded to Biden with distinction, a particular honor that has been granted to Pope John Paul II, President Ronald Reagan, and General Colin Powell. This was the only time Obama has bestowed the honor with distinction.
Welcome to the White House, everybody. As I have already delivered my farewell, talk about our bromance. This has been quite a ride, but I just wanted to get some folks together to pay tribute to somebody who's not only been by my side for the duration of this amazing journey, but somebody who has devoted his entire professional life to service to this country. The best Vice President America's ever had, Mr. Joe Biden. Education and empowerment for women. And so, Joe, for your faith in your fellow Americans, for your love of country, and for your lifetime of service that will endure through the generations, I'd like to ask the military aide to join us on stage. For the final time as President, I am pleased to award our nation's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom.